Thank you again, and let's begin with our question and answer session. You have already presented innovative guiding models and tools that offer us practical roadmap to navigate the difficult waters of today's globalized environment in search of achievement and value. Thank you. And we have a first caller from Universidad Autónoma de Chihuahua, UACH, in Chihuahua, Mexico. The question is, it is truly amazing that India is already the second most important investor in England. How important has been the leadership role of the government of the great emerging nation of India in achieving their high levels of goals, competitiveness in IT and other sectors today?
I think its role has been crucial, starting with the educational policies of mandatory English language proficiency and using telecommunication technologies to give access to the most remote communities of this large country. The Indira Gandhi National Open University and the recently announced National Knowledge Sharing Initiative are backbones in the continual effort to elevate the global competitiveness of the small and disadvantaged communities. But government efforts can only provide the preconditions for improved economic and social welfare. Business and civil society must take the initiative to produce and achieve. That is the I in the PMI systems model I described.
Great, thank you. And we have a second caller from Universidad Ricardo Palma in Lima, Peru. The question is, capacity building, the first of Cardenas's 3Cs model, has been the central goal of most international development agencies such as the World Bank, UNACTAD in Geneva, and others. Given the terrible economic gap between the 8 developed nations and the rest of the world today, it is obvious that this approach has failed dismally. Competency building is almost the new buzzword, but it sounds as though the third C of commitment is really our final condition for success. Can we actually teach and educate people to make them more committed for results?
I believe we can. The key is that regardless of culture or race, we all have that aspiration I mentioned in seeking a better standard of living and welfare. If we develop capacity and competence, then our future is bright, provided we make the effort to collaborate and perform. We will only take this initiative if we believe it is not only worthwhile, but crucial for our future aspirations. This message should be incorporated in our educational curricula at all levels.
I think there is also a natural human reaction of satisfaction when one obtains results from any kind of effort in life. In some professional activities, particularly in the field of medicine and health in general, the practitioners see their good performance and outcomes translated directly and often immediately into individual and social welfare and happiness. But this is not the case necessarily with managers or researchers whose efforts many times go unrecognized. I believe we should all make a renewed effort to inspire teachers, public servants, engineers, entrepreneurs, scientists, etc., to excel beyond their perceived capabilities, assuring them that their noble work will be recognized and that this is the greatest gift one can receive in life.
Thank you for answering that question, both of you. We have another caller from Universidad Autónoma de Mexico, UNAM, at Cuautitlán, Mexico. The question is, human networks for social purposes are evolving through the new internet-based media, Facebook, Twitter, and others. Will this trend by itself evolve into productive human networks at work and elsewhere?
I do not think they will, because productive networks have different requirements, protocols, and goals. It's easy to communicate these days at the internet, but it is not easy to collaborate and perform at a distance. I mentioned in my presentation that human networks without the 3 C's of Cardenas Achievement Systems model are not effective or productive. In addition to capacity building efforts, we must all invest in developing and certifying our distance activity global competence to create coordinators, instructors, and consultants of human networks, and in developing the international managerial leadership skills that will motivate the 3rd C, that is, commitment for achievement. In this vein, I invite you all to promote the pioneering global competency certification program offered online by the San Diego Global Knowledge University.
So technology can help, but commitment has to be there to make it effective. We have a caller from San Diego Global Knowledge University campus in New Delhi, India. Welcome to our program. Here is the question. To many people, wisdom is still a very esoteric and amorphous concept. How can we promote the importance of wisdom in management and in an era of short-term needs and challenges like today?
Well, there is nothing esoteric about sharing global knowledge of our world system in terms of its geophysical, ecological, economic, institutional, social, and individual strata. We classify global knowledge as wisdom because it transcends time and generations, and it is needed by all of us to better understand our realities and possibilities. Wisdom management is a growing field of both study and practice. Major corporations have chief knowledge officers whose job is to develop the highest level of knowledge in their organizations, which is wisdom.
Very good. Our next caller is from Instituto Tecnológico de Chetumal in Quintana Roo, Mexico. The question is, sustainability makes more sense in the context of synchronization and solidarity. Biofuels and green energy are crucial areas of innovation. Do you see the industrialized nations again leading in this sector?
No. I also see some of the intermediate emerging nations such as India, China, Brazil, and others taking a lead role here because they are not just capital-intensive sectors, and the plants and the ecosystems with high biofuel potential are not necessarily found in the rich countries only.
Very good. Thank you again for your response. Our next caller is from Instituto Tecnológico de Tlalnepantla, Mexico. The question is, governments are the most difficult organizations to adapt and evolve. You mentioned the trend towards reinvention of governments and governed per Dr. Miguel A. Cardenas's global systems perspective. Can you elaborate on this important concept?
The idea is that the forces of globalization we have now inevitably are pushing citizens around the world to demand more results from their leaders and governments. Voting percentages in democratic nations have become very low in recent years because of the disenchantment and frustration of voters. This is now changing because the new generations are now more engaged, more connected, more aligned with the new global realities and opportunities. This is the reinvention of the government that is now beginning to take hold in many countries.